So one thing I have learnt in the last 10-15 years of working for myself in the trade is, one, toolboxes you get from manufacturers are really wasteful on space, and two, having a organised, well positioned and professional looking toolbox will set you apart from your competition. I was at a show at the NEC a couple of years ago and bumped into these guys called Shadow Foam, and although I've never been a big fan of the kind of workshop shadow boxing drawers because it's just a waste of space, in my opinion, individual toolboxes wrapped in the same way are actually quite beneficial in terms of professionalism and just the way your tools are packaged and protected in transit, banging around in the back of a van or on a building site every day of the week. So we got our heads together, and the guys at Shadow Foam sent me some of their foam for free. Full disclosure, I didn't pay for any of this, to have a look at and have a go with and see what I think. FYI, I've been using this now for just over 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and I really like it. It genuinely is good stuff, easy to work with, as you'll see. So the first job for me was to empty out a couple of toolboxes that I wanted to use and get rid of those plastic inserts. The plastic inserts actually work quite well to kind of draw around as templates, so you know what size and shape you want your bit of foam, but also it's really helpful, I found, in planning where you want to position and how you want to cut the bits out. Really annoyingly, as you can see here, the foam size that is stock just happens to be a little bit too short one way to get it like 4 times in one direction, and a little bit too narrow to get it 2 in the other. So a little bit tricky. You have to get a little bit creative with the foam, but it is what it is, and you can glue it together, so it's not a huge drama. Incidentally, this is actually the kind of the most time consuming and laborious part of this task, is kind of work out where you want to lay things out. I also managed to find a piece of soft foam which lines the bottom of the green toolboxes, and I use that to draw around. It's just a little bit more convenient than the plastic insert. I drew around it first, then went in with a scalpel that came with the kit, and it's really easy to cut, as you'd expect. A surgical scalpel against soft foam, it's not going to be particularly challenging. But in addition to that, because it's kind of quite thick foam, I found that using, in this case, a serrated jigsaw knife specifically for foam and insulation worked really well. Alternatively, you can also use a kind of wavy edge serrated carving knife from the kitchen. Not that I'm promoting stealing your other half's kitchen utensils, just don't get caught. So the first toolbox I picked to do was my drill driver kit. I knew exactly where I wanted the tools to go because they'd previously been put, as you can see, in it's actually the Festool's own branded pick and pluck foam, I think they call it. Basically it's all kind of pre-scored in little squares, and you just pull out the squares that you want to make the shape, and away you go. Another good thing about this stuff is you can actually glue pieces together, not just sideways, but to stack them up. So if you've got a package, something that's really tall, you can stack multiple layers on top of each other. I just use the base of the old stuff just to keep using it. Another thing I really like about the foam is I can put little holes in there just to have frequently used tool bits, driver bits, drills, whatever, just to hand without having to dig around for them. And these go to every job that I go to where I'm going to need a drill driver. Next up, I picked, I think this is the Sds Drill. Because the plastic liners are quite, they weren't the most convenient to draw around because of the way they're shaped, I decided I'd just take the lid off and use the box itself to draw around. It also makes it a little bit easier to kind of pick how I can best use the foam, and also gives you a good line to cut to as well, as you can see there. So just going to draw around it, and then I score it with the scalpel, and then just kind of tear away the bottom, just peel away the underside. I started off trying to be really neat, get a nice smooth bottom, but I've quickly got bored of that, and you know, if the tool's in there you can't see it, and if I'm using the tool I'm not looking at the foam anyway, so it really doesn't bother me. Then just going to use some offcuts from another toolbox you'll see in a minute to just make up the little square. It gives me a nice little hidey hole for all those drill bits and kind of the brushes and the air gun to blow concrete dust out of holes. Just using some of the included glue. They give you like a, I think it's like a rubber cement contact adhesive type stuff that is nice and flexible with the foam, sticks the bits together, and it gives you a good bond. Again, having things kind of vaguely compartmentalised in the bottom of the toolbox, I've already said it not only gives you an idea of what you might be missing, but it also makes reading through the toolbox a lot quicker and easier. This is a classic one for that. This is my cordless angle grinder and multi-tool. I actually carry 2 batteries with these, and I don't carry batteries with all the tools, but with these ones I decided to because they're actually, it's a 36 volt tool and it's quite hungry when you're cutting through stones and whatnot, but I can pick out individual blades that I need right there and then, and I can see whether I've either used one up and binned it or whether I've left it on site or whatever. Highly recommend packaging tools to this kind of standard, not only to keep the tools a lot better packaged, but also I had lots of comments from the clients saying it's nice to see a guy that looks after his tools and so visibly cares for them, so definitely worth a perusal. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like. I'm not fussed if you subscribe or not, but if you think one of your mates might be finding something useful in this video, then by all means share it in that Facebook group and let them know that you know something that they don't. Till next time, I'll catch you later.